So we're going to start out today with something a little different. And it is, we're going to check out Jump Point today. And I got the okay to check this out and watch this on stream with you guys or read it on stream with you guys. So specifically, DJ, the guy that you've seen on I don't know his exact title, so my apologies. He could say it. I think he's here in chat. The Arena Commander guy. That's what I call him. He's the Arena Commander guy. That's Jump Point's pretty heavily focused on that, and then they have a little Easter egg at the end. So let's check it out on what's going on. So this is just the intro to it. Just want to get it sized well. And then in development, Arena Commander 1.5. So way back in 2014, before the expanse of Stanton, dude, I don't know if I'm going to read all this. This is like reading a newspaper on stream. It's going to be a little bit weird. Let me see if I can find like the nitty gritty details. I think this is probably where I would start, which is like the question and answer with Duncan Bunting, and that's DJ. So Arena Commander has been around for years. Why update it now? And he says, while it might seem like we're only now just updating Arena Commander and Star Marine, I personally began my refactors of all the underlying systems behind most of them 5 years ago when Fire Sprite came on board. You will have seen increased stability and some new systems come online here and there over the years, but no substantial changes. In that time, Fire Sprite revamped the first-person maps, Echo 11, OP Station Damien Comms, and added the Good Doctor, as well as visually reworking Broken Moon and Dying Star. When Arena Commander feature team was formed, we had many discussions on where we wanted to take them. We could have easily picked up the same flow, but in the end, we had a hard look at the module as a whole and came up with this 3-stage revitalization plan to elevate Arena Commander to the potential we know it has. Excuse me, I had to cough. What are the main goals for the update in 320? It's stage 1. We've been dubbed laying the foundations as a team. We have great ambitions and a many number of things we want to do. But before we do any of that, the first steps is taking some of that time to lay the foundations and set Arena Commander up for success by finishing the refactors I began 5 years ago. What happened in between the refactors 5 years ago to now, I think is where a lot of people are kind of like, what the hell, right? As we officially start stage 1 in Q3 2022, most of the refactors were mostly complete, but what remained were the really time-consuming ones, including a complete rewrite of the front end, lobby systems, spawning modules, UI, and scoring systems. That's probably what happened, where they were like, yeah, we're not wasting time on this stuff. Now they are. And then here's some features, which we all kind of know. The experimental modes. Master modes is now confirmed as an experimental mode. That is going to be a thing, and that is going to be in 320. So that is huge. That is not a leak. That is something that I'm allowed to say, right? That's what we came here for. That's why we're checking this out. The feature that every PvPer, every combat pilot, every buddy that has been waiting to learn how to fly, you now have the opportunity to start thinking about that. That is massive, right? The actual massive, like no meme in the title. It actually means something, right? If you're into racing, another massive feature that a lot of people know about at this point is adding all the racetracks to it. A lot of them, at least, right? Big deal. And you guys can check out all the other things. Now let's slide this back over. Stage 1's content includes experimental modes. What is this and what is the aim? Experimental modes is a solution, and this is where I think the ISC did fucking terrible at communicating, is they made it sound like experimental modes was pistol only, right? Now we know that it's not. So that's where this update really rounds out that ISC update that we had. Experimental modes is the solution to a collection of problems we have with Arena Commander, one being that we want to bring the module back to its roots as a testing ground for features intended for the PU or Squadron 42, a way to collect data before the full release of the features and action feedback sooner rather than later. It's the biggest problem with Star Citizen, right? And it's my biggest problem with working on things in Squadron 42 and not pulling them out and allowing us to use them in some way. Like Star Marine, the next feature that is similar to master modes needs to be like vaulting, mounting, and EVA, those changes that need to be brought in and gathered feedback on before they're polished perfectly for Squadron 42 as well, right? We also realized that we would be spreading our major player base thin with so many game modes. Experimental modes is our solution to these problems and more, which allows us to deliver regular content for a limited time, rotating through a patch cycle. If something does not work, that's all right. We've streamlined the mapped mode creation process, so there's little loss, but vital information is gained. If something is an immense success and players cannot get enough of it, fantastic. We may promote it to a permanent game mode. What experimental game types are you hoping to trial in the future? We have many ideas, or so many ideas. I would fill the magazine listing just a fraction of them. Quite a few of the Arena Commander feature team come from a modding background, so the concept of experimental modes is something we are deeply passionate about. Gunrush is a personal favorite of mine, but I am looking forward to exploring more of the out-of-the-box ideas, such as asymmetrical modes like Infection, or modes inspired by community events like Breaching Ships. Okay. I thought he would mention master modes in that, but didn't. Some of the new racing locations are taken from the PU. I don't think, that's a huge thing to really go over, but taking locations from the PU and getting them into Arena Commander was a huge initiative for Stage 1, so I think it is probably important to share that. When we first started on this adventure as a team, we were extremely small, and even now do not have artists, but we certainly weren't going to create all this new content without introducing new locations, so we looked where there were countless beautiful, amazingly built locations, and we knew we could copy any PU location and simply paste it into Arena Commander. But this creates a lot of maintenance problems if it ever gets updated in the PU, as we would have to manually recopy the location and review the setup we placed. Instead, we created a system that allows us to easily choose any location in the PU, call anything that is not needed to increase performance, and most importantly, uses the exact same object container as the PU, meaning that we're getting all the same updates to keep the location true to the time it's captured. That's neat. So it's not going to waste time or anything like that. Now that Stage 1 is approaching release, what are you working on for Stage 2, and when is it planned for delivery? Why the fuck are you allowed to say when questions in Jump Point, but we're not allowed to ask them somewhere else? Why are you allowed to do it there? This is unfair. This is ridiculous. Okay? Just kidding, but at the same time, not kidding at all. We are not quite ready to reveal all that is involved in Stage 2, even though half of its name has been kept a secret a little longer, but I will give you the first half. Bug Smash and Redacted. Okay. A large part of Stage 2 is bug smashing. When the Arena Commander feature team was formed, it inherited thousands of bugs related to the simulation mode, and within this phase, we plan to get through all of them. Among these is addressing player feedback and all the quality of life issues we have identified over the years, from fixing long-standing issues with some of the older game modes to finishing the conversion of all of our UI to building blocks. The aim is to make Arena Commander even more stable than it already is. Throughout Stage 2, which will be spread across at least 2 quarters, we will continue to build upon these foundations we laid with Stage 1, expanding on the spawn screen, delivering much more experimental modes, converting more PU locations, and much more. We will give more information as soon as it's ready, but it will also address the major issue we have with Arena Commander that we must solve. Longer term, could you give us a hint about Stage 3? We hope Arena Commander is in a great place. it being high performance, low issue module with the game. So we have done stage 3, content. After completing all the work in stages 1 and 2 to unlock Arena Commander's potential, it will be time for us to take advantage of it and focus on delivering regular content. I think stage 3 is where they try to make it its own kind of thing, it sounds like. After stage 3, will Arena Commander continue to get supported? Obviously, the answer is yes. I don't think we really have to talk much more on that. I think the big thing here is master modes, and they did an update on the Storm. I'm not going to go over much about that. I really wanted to take a look, and I think DJ was really keen for me to see the fact that master modes was going to be added and a little bit more detail on the experimental modes. What I will scroll down to for you guys to see is here's some lore on the known Jian timeline, which is cool if you're into that. But I will continue to scroll and scroll and scroll to this. This has been shared a little bit. The Fury LX, there's an advertisement on the right side coming in this summer. So there's a little tease on a ship that's probably coming soon. What the LX will be is hard to say. LX is usually the luxury variant of something. MISC doesn't usually do too much luxury. There is an LX version of the I can't remember the name of the Razor. So what's the Razor LX? I'm not really sure. I don't remember how that differs at all. So how interesting or exciting this will be. I don't even know if anybody's interested and excited in the Fury at all anymore. So that's really all I have on the jump point. I think we covered what was probably important and relevant to all backers, and that is that you will be testing master modes, and that kind of allows us to share what might be coming in 320 without sharing things that are speculated on, and they're actually there. So very, very exciting, and very, very excited to hear about it. So that was Jump Point, something we've never done here before, but I think we will do again in the future if there is something worth sharing. I could definitely link the Jump Point, I think, but I don't know if that is a breach at all. So I'll ask about that, because it is a feature that you need to read, or it's a thing that you get if you're a subscriber. So I don't know how they feel about that stuff. But my assumption is yes. MISC, LX means racing, but the Razor is in general a racing ship. So we'll see. I think it'll just look different. Some paints, no weapons, it looks like. That's about it. But in general, master modes. That was everything about this.